What is there about His Word? One of the advantages to my new assignment in St. Mary's in Wrentham and St. Martha's in Plainville is that I now find myself geographically in the center of my mom and stepdad who live in Leominster and my stepsister and niece and nephew who live in Tiverton, Rhode Island. And recently we've developed a custom of every other month they all converge on the parish where I'm assigned, and we celebrate Mass, the Saturday Mass with the parish, and then go out to dinner together. And this past Saturday was one of those times. We had the opportunity to share the breaking of the bread in the Eucharist and the breaking of the bread in a dinner meal. Now, my niece is entering the 8th grade, Peyton, and my nephew, Danny, is just starting kindergarten. So Peyton is very well behaved, of course, as an early teen, and my nephew, Danny, is a great kid, but sometimes he has a lot of energy and he can be very busy about a lot of things. So as we were waiting patiently for the meal to be served, Danny was playing around with anything he could find on the table. And as he did that, he was playing with the crayons they had given him and the placemat where he could do some coloring, and he was playing with his fork. Thankfully, he surrendered his knife to my stepfather, so that was out of his reach. But playing with the fork can be dangerous too. And so one of the other adults at the table said in a very stern voice, "Keep that fork away from your eyes," because Danny was waving it everywhere and he could have poked himself. Danny stopped short. He didn't know quite what to make of what had just happened. He wasn't used to being spoken to, maybe, by someone other than his parents in such a stern way. But it was exactly what he needed to hear at that moment. Of course, he continued fidgeting and playing with other things and playing with the fork, but he kept it away from his eyes. He didn't want to hear that again. Jesus' word is just as powerful, indeed more powerful, as the word of the friend at the table that evening. The word of Jesus, when he speaks, it happens. What he says is a command from God Most High. And that power of God's word in Jesus Christ, the word, actually brings about what Jesus says. We use words in many different ways, especially words of prayer that are very powerful indeed. But our prayers are requests. Our prayers are asking. Our prayers are praising God and asking that He lead us in our lives and perhaps grant certain blessings or opportunities to come about. But when God speaks, it's not a request. It actually comes to be. And so as Jesus spoke, the man was healed with God's compassion. The demon was drawn out of him and he was cured. Sometimes God speaks with compassion to bring healing and peace and love in our lives. At other times, God's word of love is more stern, like the word to my nephew Danny, warning us so that we don't cause harm to ourselves or others. May we allow God's word today and every day to speak powerfully in our lives, to touch our lives in a way that brings about change for the good of ourselves in our openness to God's love, and the good of all those lives around us whom we touch.